Hi YouTube, welcome back to my channel and welcome back to my BDSM 101 series. Today we're going to be talking about how to find out what kind of pet you are. For some people, when they first get into pet play, they know right away what they are, and it's just really easy for them because it's something that they've felt really strongly their whole life, and it's very easy for them to identify with a specific animal. But for some people it can be really difficult, either because they identify with so many different kinds of pets or they're just not really sure what kind of pet they want to be. And I'm here to help you out with that. Okay, so the first thing to keep in mind is that there are sort of three most common or main types of pet play. Puppy play and pony play are sort of the originators of pet play at large. They were historically the most common, but in the last 2 years or so, kitten play has gotten insanely popular, and it's definitely the most common kind of pet, especially among younger people in BDSM. And there are so many different channels you can check out that talk specifically about kitten play. So if you're interested in that, I will leave links down in the description, but you should keep watching this video first because maybe you think you're a kitten, you might find out you're something else too. So besides those main three, there are a crazy variety of pets you can be. They don't have to be domestic animals. They can be fantasy creatures, they can be wild animals, they can be things that you've made up of your own creation, and there's all sorts of different combinations that people put these pets into. So some really common animals besides the main three are like mice, foxes, wolves, bunnies, fawns, sheep, cows, fish, ferrets, dragons, phoenixes. Really, any kind of animal can be a pet as long as you want it to be. And people also put these pets in combination with each other, so if you feel really strongly about two kinds of pets or multiple pets at the same time, you don't necessarily have to choose one over the other. So if you're really drawn to both being a fox and also drawn to being a cat, you can combine the two and be a fox cat and be kind of a hybrid of both animals' behavior at the same time. You could also just be a fox some of the time and be a cat some of the time, depending on your mood or preferences. So really, there's no reason why you just have to be one kind of animal if you don't want to be. But sometimes you have people who don't know at all what kind of animal they want to be, and I think the easiest way to start out is to just look at yourself, sort of look at your personality, your traits, what other people normally say about you, how your friends would describe you, and kind of use that as a guide to look at other kind of animals and what animals would naturally do on their own. So a person who would be described as really loyal or loving and devoting would really easily fit in as a puppy. Somebody who's extremely hardworking, a perfectionist, somebody who's very task-oriented would fit well as a pony player. Somebody who can be sort of playful, mischievous, or aloof would fit well as a kitten. And of course, you can be any pet you want without necessarily fitting a certain description for that animal. Just because somebody is loyal and devoted doesn't automatically make them a puppy. You can be loyal and devoted and be a pony. You can be loyal and devoted and be a ferret. Like, you don't have to restrict yourself to one animal based on sort of the stereotypical characteristics of that animal. It is helpful though as a guide for people who don't really know or identify with any animal in particular. So the next step, after you've sort of examined yourself and sort of realized what your traits are, what you're drawn to in pet play, and why you're motivated to do pet play, is to actually read about the pets that you're interested in. So there are all sorts of websites out there that are great guides for people who want to be pet owners, and conveniently also work super well for people who are trying to get into pet play. I'll leave some links down in the description as well for different sort of texts and guides you can go to look up information about different pets. Usually these are about domesticated pets, but there are totally ways to find out things for wild animals other than just the ones that live in our homes naturally. After you sort of read about your pet, another thing that's really important to look up is videos on their behavior and vocalizations. If you want to get really into pet play and it's something that you really want to get into, it's very important to understand how your animal communicates, so when you are in pet space you know how to behave and act, and it can also just really enhance the feeling of being a pet, and it can really just make it overall a better experience. And in another type of situation, you can also just have the Dom mold you into whatever kind of animal they would prefer you to be. This is a really great option for somebody who just honestly doesn't have a preference at all, even after doing all of those above steps, or if you're just really confused about what you want to be still. Having your Dom mold you into whatever kind of pet they would want to be lets you actually experience pet play first, and once you actually start behaving as that animal, it can be really helpful to figure out if you actually feel drawn to the animal or not, or if it was just something that you had thought about without actually doing first. And that's really important in pet play. If you're trying to choose between several animals, just try it out for a few days. Spend a few days thinking like a cat or behaving like a cat and trying to adjust your behavior in a way that corresponds with the way a cat would act. And if you're feeling like a pony or a puppy, just do the same thing. And if you're trying to decide between multiple animals, spend a couple days doing each one, and at the end of like the week or the couple weeks that you're doing it, sort of compare the two, figure out what you did and didn't like about the different pets, sort of figure out one or multiple pets that work best for you, and you can either like combine them together or just narrow it down to just one choice. And I do just want to reiterate that when it comes to figuring out what pet you are, you don't have to pigeonhole yourself based on the stereotypical behaviors of the animal. Just because cats are sort of known for hating water and being aloof doesn't mean you can't be a cat who just freaking loves water and is just the most cuddly, affectionate thing ever. Because like humans, pets' personalities vary very, very widely, and it's going to be totally individual to the specific animal and sort of what your own preferences are. It's much better to sort of insert your own human personality into a pet rather than just sort of trying to stereotypically and robotically behave like whatever animal you're trying to be. And then after all of this reading and researching and decision making, you may find that you feel really strongly geared toward just one pet, like I'm a dog, or I'm a cat, or I'm a horse. But there are so many different kinds of dogs and cats and horses out there, and unfortunately this is something that is really specific, and I'm not going to be able to help you figure out exactly what kind of breed you are, but there are a lot of websites where you can read really accurate and detailed personality descriptions about all sorts of breeds of animals, and I will again link those down in the description. Now, I hope this video was helpful for you guys. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments. I'm going to be kind of taking a step back next week from getting super detailed videos about pet play and BDSM out. I'm just going to go over the very basics of BDSM with you guys. So if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Maybe subscribe if you want to see more BDSM 101 videos, and I will see you next week.